Good evening. Today I make a video for mid-exams. It is a little bit difficult for me because I am not good at software. I interviewed two foreigners. One of them is American and another is American too, but his country is Vietnam. Let's get started.
Um, uh, my name is Thuy. I'm a student at Ho Chi Minh State Open University.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to interview with a foreigner by English. So can I ask you some questions?
Of course.
Yeah. What's the name?
My name is Corey.
Where are you from, Corey?
I'm from the United States.
Yes, yeah. What's your job?
I'm an English teacher.
Yeah. Why do you want to be a teacher in Vietnam?
I wanted to be an English teacher in Vietnam because in the past I was an English teacher in Japan and Korea. And when I was looking for a new job, I knew a couple of people from university who were from Vietnam, and they suggested Vietnam. So.
Yeah. How long have you been living in Ho Chi Minh City?
I lived in Ho Chi Minh City for a little more than a year and a half.
Yes. Yeah. Can you speak a little bit in Chinese for me?
Japanese. Hajimemashite. Watashi no name wa Satoru Kori desu.
What do you enjoy most about your job?
I enjoy most being able to see a student who comes here for their first class, and then many months later, being able to have a full conversation with them.
Yeah.
There's one student, I remember I had her for her first class, and she could not even make the sentence, my name is. And from that first class until recently, I had her in another class, and she was asking me about some really difficult grammar questions, all in English. So it was quite interesting to me to see just in 6 or 7 months for her to go from this level where she can't communicate in English to a level where we can have some good conversations in English. So that was really interesting for me.
Yeah, that's interesting. What do you do in your free time?
My free time, about 50%, I do some things with my girlfriend, go out to the restaurant, go to cinema, and about 50% I play video games.
Video game.
Yeah.
And what kind of Vietnamese culture are you interested in?
I'm quite interested in the different cultures in Vietnam, not just the Vietnamese cultures, but the ethnic minorities, the Nguyen Tho. So my girlfriend is Ede, so it's quite interesting for me to learn a little Ede, to learn a little Jarai, and learn about all the different cultures in Vietnam. Many foreigners think Vietnam just has the one culture, but there's actually 54 different cultures in Vietnam to explore and enjoy.
Yeah. Your girlfriend is Asian. Yeah. So he come from Đắk Lắk province.
Yes.
Yeah, I come from Đắk Lắk province too. And have you ever gone to Đắk Lắk?
Yes, I went to Buon Ma Thuột last year during July for about 4 days. I went to a wedding.
Wedding. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
It was quite interesting. So many people ask me about my time in Đắk Lắk, how did I feel about the food, how did I feel about the people of Đắk Lắk, and it's quite difficult for me to answer because my girlfriend is Ede and my family is Ede. Actually, I didn't talk to any Vietnamese people while I was in Đắk Lắk. I was only around Ede people.
How do you, is it different Ho Chi Minh State?
Yes, just even if I didn't talk to the Vietnamese who were in Đắk Lắk, because Đắk Lắk the whole province has a lot of the government in it. So many people in Wilmington work for the government. So there's a sense that everyone needs to follow the law much closer than here in Saigon. And so when we were driving on the motorbike, everyone stops at the red light. No one drives on the sidewalk. There was no trash on the ground. The air was very clean. I quite liked it. Yeah.
I have lived in Washington State for 7 years, and I often go to my hometown 5 times a year.
5 times a year?
Yeah, when I have free time, come back with my families. I really like both states. I know that two countries have different. So, do you?
So I always think that we are very relaxed about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when I came to Vietnam, even though I understand I'm in a different country, I'm in a different culture, I still find myself, I've been here for 1.5 years, and I think even if I stay here for 10 years or 20 years, I will still always be very annoyed when I'm waiting at the convenience store and people come from behind me and put their things down, or I'm waiting in the parking lot to try to take my motorbike out and people cut in line. It makes me so angry. Just people don't stand in a line. One person and one person and one person. It's always just a group, and it really gives me a lot of stress.
Yeah. Maybe sometimes. Tell me a little bit about your girlfriends. How do you meet her?
We met on a dating website. When I came to Vietnam, we met like in the first day. So we met quite quickly. I was part of not a dating website, a social website. And when I knew that I was coming to Vietnam, I knew about a month and a half before I came to Vietnam that I would come to Vietnam. So for a month and a half, I joined a social website to try to find some friends in Saigon, men or women, just friends, because I was coming to a country where I didn't know anybody who lived in Saigon. And so we met on there and we were talking, and she offered to show me around the city and different things. But we started talking more and more, and as we were talking, we kind of had sort of a romantic like for each other. But because it was on the internet, both of us we were unsure about it. And so we said, when I come to Vietnam, we'll go on a date. If we like each other like that, then we can have a relationship. But if we don't, then we can still be friends and have a good friend. So when I got here on the first date, we went on a date. Actually, my first date, I didn't eat all day because I was busy doing other things. And so our first date, we went to have some food. And the first meal that I had in Vietnam on my first date was bún đậu mắm tôm. So many people tell her, many of her friends tell her that was a big risk. But, well, the date went well and we're still together, so.
Yeah, that's great. And in Vietnam, which place do you travel or visit?
I visited Củ Chi and Da Nang and Buôn Ma Thuột.
Da Nang is a favorite city in Vietnam.
Because of the beaches and seafood, but I don't like beaches and I don't like seafood. But I liked Da Nang because it was very clean and very safe. The people were very polite, and my Vietnamese is very bad, but I think that Quảng Nam is quite easy to understand. When it's very fast, when it's very difficult, no, it's hard to understand, but when people in Saigon speak to me slowly in Vietnamese, I still don't understand. But when people who speak Quảng Nam speak slowly, I can understand. So I think Quảng Nam is easier for me to understand than Saigonese Vietnamese. Yeah.
Quảng Nam, with me, Quảng Nam is difficult to hear.
Many Vietnamese tell me that. I always try to be clear. Not the Hawaii accent. The Hawaii accent I can't understand at all. But when people who are speaking Ma'anon, they speak slowly, I can understand them. But here in Saigon, even when people speak slowly, I have no idea what they're saying. Because there's so many different accents, and the Saigonese accent, it's very, very strong, I think. The Ma'anon is very clear, so it's easier for me to understand.
I will ask some foreigners. And how often do you come back your countries?
I have been in Asia now for almost 5 years, and I have gone back home 2 times.
2 times.
Yeah. The first time I went back home was after 2.5 years, or almost 3 years. Yeah, almost 3 years.
Long time.
And I went back and visited, and I stayed for about 5 months before I came to Vietnam. And then after 1 year in Vietnam, I went back for 2 weeks.
For my middle exam, so can I ask you some questions?
Sure, you can.
Yeah. First, what's your name?
My name is Lin Huang. Lin Huang.
Lin Huang.
Mm.
That's surprise because your name is SMS Vietnamese name.
Yes.
What is your nationality?
My nationality is American.
American.
Yes.
How long have you lived in Ho State?
I've been here since May 18th of this year.
18.
Yeah.
Wow, that's right. What's your job?
I'm an English teacher.
Yeah. Why do you want to be a teacher in Vietnam?
Because I wanted to move to Vietnam, and I did a Google search, how can an American citizen live in Vietnam? And the website said, what can you provide for the society in Vietnam? And then I Googled what's the number one job for foreigners in Vietnam, and it said teachers. So then I became a teacher.
Yes, teacher
Yes.
is the best choice. Yeah. And do you have any relationship in Vietnam?
A lot of my father's side of the family lives here. A lot of his cousins. So my father's cousins are my aunts and uncles.
Oh.
So there's a few of them living here.
Where do you live?
I live in District 1 on Ba Van Kit Street.
Yeah, and how about your relationship? Cousin, aunt and uncle?
Just aunts and uncles and maybe a few cousins, maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah. And what do you do in your free time?
I like to watch documentaries on Netflix and listening to music on Spotify. I used to like to play sports such as baseball, basketball, American football, but those sports are not popular in Vietnam.
Do you watch the movie in Netflix?
Yes, but I rather spend most of my time watching documentaries. I just finished the Vietnam War documentary. It was really good, but it was so long. 10 episodes, and each episode is 2 hours. So I watched 20 hours of Vietnamese the Vietnam War.
Yeah. I just have in Netflix, and I watched some movie in Netflix. That's great. I hear the voice clearly, and they have English sub, and I can read it. Yeah.
So earlier you said my name is sounds and looks like Vietnamese.
Yeah.
It's because my ethnicity is Vietnamese and my nationality is American. So nationality is where you were born, and ethnicity is what your blood is, or where your parents are from. So my parents are from Haiphong.
Haiphong,
Yeah.
Greece.
Yes.
two, both of them are Vietnamese.
Yes.
How long have you been living in USA?
I was born in New York City, 1982,
Mm-hmm.
and I just moved a few months ago. So
This is the first time you moved in Vietnam?
my first time was in 1991, when I was 9 years old.
Oh,
Yes.
9 years old.
And then the second time was 2016.
Mhm.
I was here for 2 months vacation.
Can you speak Vietnamese?
Chỉ biết nói chút xíu thôi.
Yeah. If I
Mhm.
speak Vietnamese,
Mhm.
I think you can understand.
Maybe. Okay.
Yeah. And in Vietnam, which place do you visit?
In 2016, well, 1991, I stayed in Haiphong for the whole summer. And then 2016, I flew and landed in Haiphong first, and then I went to Hanoi, and then I went back to Haiphong, and then I went to Ho Chi Minh City, and then I went to Nha Trang, and then I went home. But for this year, so far, I've only been to, was it Hainam? Where the roller coasters, you know, when you go on the rides, the amusement park.
North.
Is it Hainam and Dainam? It's
That-
like 45 minutes away.
Yeah, it's
You go
in-
to the amusement park and you go on the rides.
Yeah, when I was young, I visited that land.
Mm.
It's in the Bình Dương province. Maybe it takes about 45 minutes
Mhm.
if you.
Dainam, okay.
Yeah.
And then last month I went to Mekong Delta on a tour, the Mekong.
Mekong.
Mekong, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And next week I will go to Phat Thi, Mui Ne.
Mũi Né,
Mui
yeah.
Ne, yeah. And visit the sand dunes and the fishing village
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah.
Have big beach in
Mhm.
Mũi Né.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. The Mekong tour.
Mm-hmm.
Last vacation I went to Cần Thơ province. It's near Mekong,
Mm-hmm.
and it's beautiful. I went to a river city with my friends and ate the fish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a great experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you, when you live in two countries,
Mhm.
USA and Vietnam, I think they have a lot of different. So can you tell me some different culture between two countries?
America is more polite. They say excuse me. They say please. They they make a line.
Yeah.
You know, when you
Yeah,
pay
yeah.
for something,
Yeah.
there's a line.
Mhm.
In Vietnam, there's no line. They just go in front of you, and then they don't say excuse me. They just push you, they move you like this. Like
Yeah.
if you're standing here and he wants to go, the person just push the person away. In America, you say excuse me,
Yeah.
pardon me. Yeah, so I feel like America is more polite, but Vietnamese people are more nicer, but they're not polite. And what else is different? That's the main one. When people sneeze, you know, sneeze, like hachu.
Yeah.
Yeah, the men, they're like hachu, and they're like make a really loud noise, and they don't cover. Like America, I go like this, or I go like this. But in Vietnam, they make a really loud noise. They don't care. Like it's disgusting. I don't want to get sick.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I know.
Mhm.
But
Oh,
some
and then
people-
Vietnamese people, they like to pick their booger, like they don't care, like they do it in front of you.
in
they pick their
social-
nose?
in public.
Yes, sometimes I see girls do it. I was on a date one time and the girl's like picking her nose in front of me. I'm like, wow, like she's picking her nose in front of me
Maybe-
on a date. Yeah.
Some people in the group
Yeah.
and in
Oh, and like when sometimes I do encounters, the students they wear slippers and then they take the slipper off and then they're touching their feet and then they touch the cards and they touch their feet. Yeah, it's just like disgusting.
I don't know because I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I graduated from my university. I found a job at construction company. I was an accountant. After that, I want to work at the international company, so I learned English. So now I just find a new job at international company, but I come back accountant.
To the construction company?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am in charge of checking issue of red invoice and following up on expenses like phone, telephone, company car, and powers and so on. Like that. But I like working with my co-workers. They are friendly and lovely. Sometimes they help me to eat the need. Yeah.
That's great.
Okay. And today, very thank you for your time and have a nice weekend.
Thank you. No problem. You're welcome.